Happy Saturday and welcome to the Ramashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you will learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Shivangi and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I would like to give you a brief overview to the Satsang session. If you will direct your attention to the screen, you will see that the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our lives. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin this practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of Satsang. When we meditate, our consciousness is drawn from worldly objects and directed inward to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, leading us to higher states of consciousness such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsangs, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior. But only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. This is the type of satsang we will learn today, where we meditate in silence. Group sessions. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul, but only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy that we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Next, the agenda for today's session consists of three parts: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, instructions on how to meditate will be given, followed by a brief period of practice. During the interactive session, you will have the opportunity to ask questions or there will be a panel discussion. Now, before I introduce the facilitator of today's event, I want to provide a brief introduction to Ramashram Satsang Mathura. In 1930, our Guru Maharaj, Param Sant Dr. Chaturbhuj Sahai Ji, established Ramashram Satsang Mathura, naming it after his guru, Lalaji Maharaj, Param Sant Sri Ramchandra Ji, out of the northern Indian town of Mathura. As per the directive of his guru, he propagated a system of meditation that is adaptable by people of any religion, community, or race. This system is specially suited for our busy and demanding lives in today's world. If we shape our lifestyles and mold our thought processes according to it, spiritual success can be achieved effortlessly. We can learn to live in a peaceful life. We can learn to live a peaceful life amidst the stress. Our system of sadhana or satsang is a unique unification of karma, which is duty, upasana, which is devotion, and gyan, which is knowledge. The core of this unification is achieved through dhyan, which is meditation, and can be done every morning and evening for 15 to 20 minutes. Soon after the establishment of satsang, the need for a monthly journal and literature was felt. Hence, the publication of Hindi monthly journal Sadhan began in August of 1933. In addition, Sri Guru Maharaj started to work on satsang literature. His numerous books, including a 7 volume book on his own spiritual experiences, have helped spiritual aspirants for decades. And now, I would like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He is the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ramashram Satsang Mathura. He was born into a satsang family where he witnessed his family members obtaining states of enlightenment, live lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. During that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. Upon arriving in the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangis. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by our Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
Thank you, Shivangi. So happy Tuesday, everyone. Oh, happy Saturday. I'm sorry. Happy Saturday, everyone. And today I was actually for last few days, I've been looking at various different methods that, you know, um, are prevalent in terms of meditation or similar spiritual practices. So I think I'll talk about that a little bit in coming sessions. But let's start with mindfulness, right? So mindfulness is a practice that involves focusing your attention on the present moment. Uh, I think in a way, you know, lot of meditation methods have lots of things in common, and then there are some variations or nuances. And Guru Maharaj was so. On one hand, I think what he learned from his guru and the way he progressed himself, so that I think when I uh, look at his documentation and some of the things that he has described, pretty much what he learned, he just packaged it for us. So that's one aspect. But on the flip side, he and his Guru Lalaji Maharaj both were very uh, open and you know you know Lalaji Maharaj's guru was a Sufi saint, so um, you know various different cultures, various different methods he has uh, you know pulled together. So his view was like whatever is working for you to become a better human is becoming something that helps you in your practice. And what he himself found helped him, all that is bundled into this approach. So if we break down mindfulness, so focusing your attention, that's part of our method, uh, and coming into the present moment, that's there too, in a non-judgmental and accepting way. And that we don't overemphasize here, but that's should be part of it. um, so one aspect is present moment awareness. So mindfulness encourages you to direct your attention to the here and now. This means observing your thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and surrounding environment with an open mind. So here, I think what we do is when it comes to observing your thoughts, um, so while we focus on the transcendental energy and uh, the whole idea is to just bring the barrage of thoughts to one thought and one thought alone, while in that process, if there are, thoughts appearing, or when thoughts are there, you don't fight with them, you observe. um, so in Hindi it's called drashta or observer. So becoming an observer, Guru Maharaj used to say that our method makes you an observer from day one. um, and specifically what he was saying, other methods where you are um, you know doing any activity, um, you know any activity. When you do an activity, you become an actor, or you are part of that activity. While being an observer, you are detached from the activity and you're observing. Uh, Incidentally, and I don't know why, most of the time when I talk about observer, I also find that if you look at most of the newspapers in US and otherwise, uh, they used to be called reporter, observer, um, and similar. Idea was that uh, the newspaper was a neutral party, only observing and reporting. Um, so ideally, we should have uh, within our internal mechanisms, one of them should be just an observer and reporter to the higher authority or the decision maker within us. Um, if we, differentiate those capabilities, the neutral observer is, you know, uh, is a key aspect. So this non-judgmental and accepting. So accepting comes later, but as you are observing, if you're non-judgmental, you will be able to see various different perspectives, and you're not caught up in a, uh, fight or flight kind of quick decision and move on, which our brains are wired to do. So non-judgmental observation is another aspect of mindfulness. When practicing mindfulness, you observe your experiences without labeling them as good or bad. This non-judgmental stance helps to create a sense of acceptance and reduces stress associated with, specifically with, self-criticism. So this non-judgmental aspect, you know, I think is key to observing. So the more you become an observer, the more you're detached. And we have talked about detachment. The whole idea is that what is happening and how you're perceiving, if you differentiate those two, you will become more non-judgmental, and hence you will have uh, you know uh, this space that you will create for yourself will create a sense of acceptance and reduce stress uh, in so many ways. Then intentional focus. So mindfulness involves intentionally focusing your attention, which we do. We intentionally focus our attention on uh, the source as well as the transcendental energy. And this can be done through various techniques, such as, so in mindfulness you can um, this intentional focus can be on your breath, can be on an object, can be on bodily sensations, but we go a little further, and it's a little more abstract. While people like more tangible, uh, you know, point of focus, but you know, uh, so yesterday I was talking to Rich about, he was mentioning that I would like to. Uh, so, how do we, connect with transcendental energy? So, uh, the more he's practicing, he's also realizing that he needs to uh, think about a connection with God, connection with personalizing, you know, uh, that this, so a conscious and uh, source of this transcendental energy makes it uh, more, you can, uh, because a lot of people struggle with, um, how should I focus on transcendental energy? The ideal situation is whatever, and this has been open. Guru Maharaj found God in his guru, but whatever, you know, um, so as I think Rich and I were talking about, like, we have to have a personal uh, connection, a personal image or view. But then I said, like, it has to be, uh, a conscious source of, transcendental energy. So satsang is very open in terms of, it can be, uh, what's the source of this transcendental energy, consciousness and conscious source of this energy is up to you. Um, but the idea is that we're not thinking about an image, or we're not trying to visualize this as light, and in form of light. Uh, so God is a is energy, and that energy is what we are connecting with. So um, anyway, so coming back to mindfulness, so there are various techniques and practices, breathing exercises, body scans, mindful eating, mindful walking. But here, so that's where I think we differ. And there is another word, Guru Lalaji Maharaj, uh, there are other satsangs that descended from Lalaji Maharaj. So one of them is now talking about heartfulness. So we focus on the heart, and enable the heart chakra, and um, so center the energy. So from the, whatever source we are uh, thinking about, from that source to our heart, and that energy, that light is cleansing, enlightening, and energizing our heart center. So that's where this practice differs. And anyway, so let's get into our practice, then we can talk about this more. But uh, so idea is that, you know peace, light, love, we want to find all of that within us, and for that, inward orientation, so eyes lightly closed, so that the sensory input coming through the eyes, you know so we keep that at bay. And still and relaxed posture, and we then focus on this transcendental energy in form of light coming into our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming completely and totally immersed in this light. When mind wanders away, bring it back. So that's another form of inward orientation, that any outward focus we bring back onto this transcendental energy in form of light. The light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are getting completely and totally immersed in this light. So we are focusing on that, we're concentrating on that, nothing else at this point. And uh, we start with music that helps concentration, then we go deep into silent meditation, and then we transition out with music again. Let's start. So happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we are here in Satsang. So, yeah, we were talking about mindfulness versus heartfulness. So, interestingly, present moment awareness, non judgmental observation, intentional focus, all that is still very much part of what we practice. But when it comes down to the actual implementation details like breathing exercises, body scans, mindful eating, mindful walking. I mean, we're not opposed to any of it, but the details differ.
सादर चरण स्पर्श भैया.
So yeah. Um, so any thoughts, comments, questions on this?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Ashita. How are you?
I'm okay. It's my birthday weekend, so it's chaotic. And this was very, very needed.
So
Yes, I've
happy
sorry.
happy birthday from all of us here.
Oh, thank you. Yes. But speaking of mindfulness, um, uh, I've been listening to this doctor. I forget her name, but it's like Karen or something. But she's like a Harvard professor, and she's known to be this queen of mindfulness. And she's been on multiple podcasts. So I've been listening to her, and um, she kind of gives a lot of examples of how we're trained to think, and how most of the time we spend is sort of mindless. And she gives a lot of examples, and this sort of helps me shift perspective. She gives this example, which is sort of annoying to hear. She asks what is her answer when someone asks you what is 1 plus 1. It's such a silly question, but the normal response is that is 2, but a very, very mindful answer would be sometimes it's 2. 1 plus 1 is not always 2. A pile of laundry plus another pile of laundry is 1 pile of laundry. One cloud plus another cloud is 1 cloud. And that is like, obviously no one's thinking that deeply in the moment, but it makes you think that every single thing, there's so many perspectives to see life. And I definitely notice it's so easy to just see things one way. So I think that's where mindfulness is so important. Yeah, anyways. And also I enjoyed focusing on mindfulness today and talking about observing our thoughts and not judging them, because that's something as well, is I'm constantly judging every action, every thought, and that observation just gives you a bit of distance. You notice that there's a gap between the thought and yourself, and that is where the sort of peace is. But I only capture it for just a moment, that distance only lasts for a little bit, and then I start flowing with those judgments again and again. But it's definitely those moments are starting to happen, and they're like evidence that this state exists.
So the thing is that while there may be similarities and there may be similar goals. Where I think we center our energy, so it becomes heart centric. And the other thing is that instead of going through that process that you just described in terms of, I mean, in a way, we do not, while we observe and we want to be non-judgmental, but to transcend all this thought processes, we need to take one step up and focus on, something that is beyond us, beyond where our thinking patterns are to, manifest this transcendental energy, connect with, and while it's open, flexible, and non-denominational, but I think all of us need to connect with our, definition, our image, our, and image is not the right word in some ways because, a conscious source, this super consciousness, this higher consciousness, we need to connect with in this process. So the source of this transcendental energy is extremely important. And that's where this approach is going, that I want to connect to this immensely, positive, uplifting, and almost a source that transcends this world, and takes me, and I transcend the world through this process, right? So we want to manifest this energy in our heart so that the heart cleanses, and in the process, that energy within us rises to a point where we are not caught up in, so as Rumi says, the right doings and wrong doings. Beyond that, I want to center my energy, my focus, my intention is to go beyond all this. So similarities, yes, but there is significant differences, and I think that's one topic that I have not tackled so much. So I probably need to dig deeper. Guru Maharaj has talked about various different methods and how this is, similar, different. He's not for or against. It's just we need to understand the nuances so that we are aware, right?
Yes.
Cool. So Luz, Arvindji, Neetaji, anything?
Happy Saturday. It was really a beautifully deep meditation for me today. I don't know why. I mean, it's normally wonderful, but today I felt a very deep calm, a deep relaxation. Don't know the difference, usually it's wonderful, but it was particularly peaceful today.
And I'm hoping everybody, got affected by that in a positive way. So all good.
And other than that, no, I don't really have any comments. I really liked what I'm sorry, I don't recall who was just speaking. Aisha?
Ashita, yeah.
I really liked what she had said about the article and the 2+2. That's so interesting. I was thinking, when before she talked about the piles, I was like, no, 2+2 is always 2. What is she? I mean, 2+2 is always 4, or whatever it was. But then she said, but if there's 2 piles with multiple clothes in each pile, like, yes, that's wow. I really thought that was pretty cool, actually. And it just shows that, I continue to learn and expand by joining this group. I really enjoyed that example. That is pretty eye-opening. So thank you.
So KP Singh ji is talking about mindfulness, thoughtlessness, and then somebody said thoughtlessness is different than thought-free. So again, like nuances, but I think mindfulness is almost like a very broad word these days, talking about various different techniques and ways in which we can, as I was talking about, how do we get to present moment? So present moment awareness, non-judgmental observation. So how do we observe our mind, which is full of thoughts? How do we observe in a non-judgmental way? And intentional focus. So while we're doing all that, there is intentional focus. And all those three, I think we practice as well. But more or less. But when it comes to actual practices and techniques, so the idea, even when you're observing your breath, for example, you come to the present moment, but and in that process, do you get to a thought-free state or a so thought-free and thoughtless? I think thought-free is more of aware state. So thoughtless sometimes who try to like define these terms in very narrow ways. I think it's more thought-free and more aware and more higher consciousness state. So it's not just blanking your mind, it's like, a higher state in some ways. So can mindfulness lead to thought-free state? I think a lot of these meditation methods, like pure present moment. So it's not just present moment awareness. It's like, am I in the present moment? So till I have thoughts that are taking me into the past or future, I'm not in the present moment. So if I'm even observing my mind, am I in the present moment? So the intent is to get truly into the present moment. That's a truly thought-free state only, because if you have thoughts, they will either take you back or forward mostly. So I think yoga and satsang kind of approach it in a way that I get so enamored, so totally focused. So this intentional focus is on your guru or your God or a conscious source of this higher consciousness energy, which just takes you away from thinking this and thinking that. I think so. Technique wise, mindfulness is very different when it comes to like Ashtanga Yoga, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi, or Satsang, where you get so this collective energy takes you to a place where none of the thoughts exist while this awareness is there. So yeah, it's interesting. In my view, I I mean, it's mindfulness is almost like I think the question itself is like, are we looking to become mindful? So I think it's not like mind is full, like full of things. It's mindful, like one word, mindful. So I am very mindful of my thoughts. So I think that's how I look at it. It's just the goal is to come to the present moment, and the right way to get there is uh, to, or one of the ways to get there is to be thought free. So yeah, again, nuances. I usually, as Liz said, like it was great meditation. I just want to stay in that state. That's what it is. So Arvindji, oh, I can't hear you. You're unmuted, but yeah, drop off your.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, blissful to join. Happy Saturday, everybody. I agree with Luz. It was so blissful. Difficult to come out of it. Transition out was difficult. Ashita was mentioning, the Harvard, professor, and actually, there was a Harvard Review of Psychiatry published in 2020 that talked about mindfulness and behavior change, something I've shared with this group before. And to my humble thought, our meditation is mindfulness plus, because you and Guru Maharaj have said it is mindful. You close your eyes and you are trying to concentrate, but we concentrate on the conscious, you just mentioned earlier on, conscious form of energy. So the moment you focus on the conscious form of energy, you are mindful plus, because you're uplifting and you're focusing on the heart area, heart chakra, which is the center of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So, that makes it slightly different from the traditional mindful model of meditation. But the gains and positivity of behavior change, which is the trait change and the state change of a person as one progresses and practices on a regular basis, is something that's a progressive gain in this. And as you were rightly saying, our meditation, you concentrate on a conscious energy, so it's uplifting process. So mindfulness, neurologically, the moment you close your eyes and are quiet, the default mode network in the brain gets activated, and the default mode network initially throws a lots of thoughts, the fight and flight, the amygdala, the limbic system, all of that comes in action. But as time goes on with practice, those thoughts settle, and there's greater and greater input of parts of our brain that are to do with balancing out the firing of multiple desires and thoughts and feelings, so that so it's mindful and all the benefits of mindful. But again, the spiritual uplifting part is difficult to explain. For that, you need somebody who has been there, somebody like Guru Maharaj, yourself, who's been there. The initial part was presented by, you've done this 40 years, and you've given this selfless service. Now, why and how are you engaging us? You're engaging us to bring Guru Maharaj's transcendental energy to us through the mindfulness process. So mindfulness is a small tool, but what this satsang brings is a lot more mindful plus, which again, I cannot explain in words. So I'll leave that to you. Again, big thank you for invitation.
No, but I think we should spend some more time in, like, I mean, again, I don't want to go and uh, you know, it's not getting into the nitty gritty too much, but at least uh, there are these similarities which I think, and there are these common elements which uh, definitely are our focus, and we want to, take advantage of that. But then there are these other aspects where, this heart-centeredness and uh, cleansing of the heart and energizing your heart chakra and all those things are there as well, um, as part of the process. So just highlighting a few things. I think let's spend some time on that. Awesome. Yeah, I'm actually, yeah, the session was very calming effect. It was nice. And so happy birthday, Ashita, and from all of us. And
Thank you. Thank you.
sure, and yeah, let's be back in satsang soon. So light, love, and peace be with you, and have a great week ahead. We'll be together in satsang. Hopefully, pretty soon. So on that note, let's. Namaskar.
Have a great week.
Namaskar, bhai.
You too, Paula.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Liz, Ashita.
Namaskar, bhai sahab.
Namaskar.
Goodbye, everybody.
Namaskar, Anita ji. Namaskar, Ajita, Arvind ji, KP Singh ji.
Pranam.
नमस्कार भैया
Namaskar.
Namaste, Bhaiya ji.
Namaskar, Anit, Shivangi.
प्रणाम भैया जी
Namaskar, KP Singh ji. Namaskar, Renu ji.